Good evening. Welcome to the Unbroken podcast. Hosted tonight by myself. I'm Mike Kiff, and I've got joining me today the rocker from the Steel City, Chris Allsop.
Welcome.
Evening, Chris.
Good evening.
How's it going?
Well, thank you. Yeah, good.
Yeah. Do you want to just give a little introduction about yourself, Chris?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm 60 years old, so I'll get that one in quick. Put my age on. I live up in Sheffield, but I'm a southerner originally. I was Royal Engineers and did 23 years in the services. Unfortunately, I was medically discharged out, which came as a bit of a shock at the time. And I've been working with Help the Heroes and more recently with the RBL, doing sports and that, and then they're part of my recovery.
Yeah, awesome. So, for those that sort of don't know me, because I'll be honest, we'll probably get my my son's gaming friends jumping in because they'll think he's online. I'm Mike. Same as Chris, unfortunately, medically discharged from the army after 16 years. Again, came out of the blue. Knocked me for six, really, especially with my mental health. And what you'll find with this podcast is, you know, it's mainly going to be veterans or guys serving that do have injuries that limit what they're physically able to do. And a lot of us do have mental health issues. But it doesn't mean this podcast is just for veterans, okay? If you want to get involved, you want to come on the show, we're happy to get anybody on who's got a story to tell. So myself and Chris were lucky enough, and we should have a few others joining us later. We're lucky enough to take part in the AFW2 games out in Las Vegas earlier this year, competed against the US Air Force. What did you think of it, Chris?
Well, it was awesome, really. I can't put a better word on it. But it was out of the blue, wasn't it? That was the thing about the trials we went on. That's what it was called, the trials. It was their trials. We were just, I think, put in there to be act as a bit of competition for them to gear them up a little bit. But yeah, what an experience. Yeah, you know, and I came away in awe of other people as much as myself, really. I mean, I was quite amazed at what I did, but also amazed at other people.
Yeah, what I found amazing about it was up until we turned up on the first day for the briefing, I think I'd only actually met maybe 2 or 3 people out of the 40 of us that went, and the sort of the instant bond that we formed just through experience. And I think settings like that are just so good. It was so good for me. I don't know how you felt about that, Chris. Did you know many people when you turned up there?
I had a few anxiety issues on going there initially. I didn't know, number one, I didn't know where Brunel University was anyway, so on even getting there, I can feel my anxiety getting up, and then meeting people that I don't know. You're always in a little bit of apprehensive about that, I think, but you are right. It doesn't take long to settle in, and it's that common thread, isn't it, that weaves between us all, you know, with regard to what units, wherever we served, where we served, and how long we served. It's all irrelevant, but it's that common thread between us all. So yeah, and it was nice. It was good to meet other people, you know, and knowing that you're going to set off in this challenge in a way. What it was certainly a challenge getting there, which we didn't know how we were going to do or what we were going to do. Really, it was still up in the air. I think even until we got out there.
Yeah, I mean, something else I found really good as well is as much as we were there to compete, it almost didn't feel like we were sort of in direct competition, because, you know, the Americans made us feel so welcome. You know, they were friendly, and I'm still in touch with quite a few of them now, which is great. Sort of they check in on me, we chat online, so
Yeah.
it's been fantastic.
There wasn't the rivalry, was there? It wasn't that inter rivalry going on,
Yeah,
but there was the, you just did your best, and if you came out top, you came out top, and that was it really. I
yeah,
think even in the you didn't even see any sort of rivalry on the team sports. It was still very much a very friendly atmosphere, which was great. The wheelchair rugby and the wheelchair basketball, and even the seated volleyball. That was just awesome. It was just you could just be your mate on the other side of the net, just as easy.
yeah. So those of you that may listen to this, watch this. If you've not really done a lot of sort of things with adaptive sports, Chris just mentioned there are a few of the things that we did out there: sitting volleyball, wheelchair rugby, wheelchair basketball. We had swimming events, cycling events. There was powerlifting, track and field events, so shot put, discus, all these sort of athletics things going on. I think the key thing is if you're suffering with sort of a physical disability or a mental illness, there is something out there for you to do. Certainly for me, apart from sort of a couple of days, I think out there I had a bit of a wobble. I think down to tiredness and sort of pain really, but I just felt so good being in a team environment, doing sports that I could do, and nobody was judging me, which I think is a bit of a hurdle for some people when they sort of want to get started in whether it's adaptive sports or going to the
Yeah,
gym. You
yeah,
especially when you go to the gym, you go to places where everybody's pumped up and they're all super fit and massive. You sort of sometimes feel a little bit inadequate.
yeah. That's right. I think you're dead on. You're dead right there with the going into gyms and things. I'm not a great lover of doing it because you feel you have to perform at a certain level or be wearing the right gear and everything else. You look like you've got to know what you're doing almost. Where out there we were helped quite a lot anyway and coached by some amazing coaches. The ones that coached us on that. I mean, we did the indoor rowing. The coach on that was a great bloke. Really good, and really backed up what we'd already done with the British Legion anyway in preparation for this. But yeah. So it it didn't matter what level you came in at. You were there and you just got on and did it the best you could, the best of your ability. And I agree with what you're saying about the sports. Anybody who is listening who's having any thoughts about sports or activities and that, really every sport can probably be adapted to accommodate whatever it needs to be changed to allow you to do it. I don't think there's many sports that can't be.
No, absolutely. And with what Chris has just said, I think if you've got any ideas of sports that maybe haven't been adapted yet that you think could be, if you drop it in the comments, and we can have a chat about that and maybe try and push forward with some extra adaptive sports that maybe people haven't thought are achievable yet.
I think you're right, and I think it possibly is. There may be, you're right. There may be some sports out there that haven't been done yet because probably they haven't realised the need for it. If people come forward with those, if a sport, if you have an unusual sport or a sport that's not been, been more inclusive, then people come forward. More that do come forward, it shows the need for it. Then, and I'm sure there will be somebody who can make adjustments for it.
Yeah, like you say, anybody can do it. Anybody.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all about inclusivity, and the way it's being driven at the minute. I think it's fantastic for everybody. Something I did want to ask you, Chris, because we can't look past this little Las Vegas experience, Rock to Recovery, which I attended with you.
Yeah,
How good was that?
yeah. I think that'd be one of my lasting memories of Las Vegas doing the Rock to Recovery. For anybody not aware of what it is, I think that's if you put that in your Google search, you'll probably find it anyway. But it was literally writing a song from your own experiences, and basically whatever you wanted to put in the words, and they managed to manipulate it and form it and mould it into a song which you allowed to play instruments or accompany with other different instruments and percussion, like bongo, drums, or anything like that, just to be included in the actual playing of the song and singing along with it. And it was so uplifting and fun. And at the end of the day, you can't get away from it. It was such a fun session, and came away buzzing, didn't it? You know what I mean? It was brilliant.
Have you listened back to our track on SoundCloud?
I did. I think there missed a few bits out on it, though.
Yeah, I think there was a few bits out there. They also tweaked the name a little bit, which I noticed.
Yes.
And we won't say what that name is on here because we don't want to get told off just yet in the first episode.
It was a good thing, and I don't think we've got a similar thing out here, have we? Back in the UK, I don't think there's a similar idea, intervention as rock to recovery.
Yeah, so I've not seen it. No, I mean what it has done for me is music's always been a getaway for me. It was the same when we were out in Vegas when I was sort of hitting those spots where I just needed some time, headphones in, music on, and chill. So it sort of ignited a bit of that passion in music for me again, and I've just started relearning piano.
Wow.
So yeah, obviously my hands aren't as dexterous as they used to be, so I can't do any renditions yet unless you want to hear Jingle Bells in July. But that's about all I've got to.
Oh, that's awesome, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Back and start doing that, because do you think you ever would have done that again?
No. I think I would have given up on it. I used to do it when I was younger, and at one point I was getting fairly good. But then 30 years later, I've picked up a book again and gone, do you know what? It relaxes me. I can put my headphones on. I bought a geeky little cable I can plug into my phone so it shouts at me when I play the wrong note. And so it's just another outlet.
Yeah, and you are right about music. Music is one of the things that can either take you to places, which evoke thoughts and memories, which can obviously be good or bad, if you think about it. But you can control it because you have the choice of what music you want to play. So you can control that. And some people, do want to go back and have those memories about something, just to, remind themselves of something like that. But you can be uplifting. I mean, how many people? I mean, I must admit, I cycle. I have headphones on when I'm cycling.
Yeah.
And it's probably frowned upon massively, but I don't care. I enjoy listening to music when I'm cycling. It's just great because you're out there on your own, in your own zone, and you've got your own music on. There's no giving up having it in your car, as far as I'm concerned.
No,
good stuff. But actually, for it to make you then, pick up your books again and start relearning the piano, that is brilliant, mate.
Yeah. So maybe we can reignite this rock band.
Exactly. Yeah.
In Sheffield.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to my lad about this, and I was a bit embarrassed really because I said I kept getting asked, but where are you from? When we were especially when we were on the bus to the we went on to the sessions and that, and he asked, we were getting asked, well, where are you from, mate? I'm from England. Yeah, whereabouts in England? I said Sheffield, and nobody knows where it was, and I said, and I struggled to explain. Sheffield, it was Sheffield. It's the town, the city of steel, but it's not many more nowadays, unfortunately. And I said, and the only real thing I could remember was the Full Monty film, right? That's the only thing about it. But he said to me, well, you've got Kaiser Chiefs come from there, because I was trying to think, who would they know,
Yeah, but everybody knows the Full Monty.
Well, somebody didn't know. They didn't. What's that then? And then they're trying to tell him there's a bunch of blokes stripping. I thought, right, that's not giving the right impression, is it?
Yeah, maybe you've just, yeah. Right, let me
think of any pop groups from it. They said, well, there was, I think it was Human League. I think from Sheffield, the Kaiser Chiefs. And I thought, well, isn't there one that one of the ACDC or something, one of the blokes from that. So I thought, what? But I couldn't remember it at the time when I was out there. It's a shame.
I was trying to think the other day because I'm speaking at the RBL of having a legacy event at in Bovington end of the month,
Okay.
and I've been asked as an ambassador to go in speak for 20 minutes.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, and of course I want to mention some of the things that they've supported me through, including
Yes.
sort of Las Vegas. And I was trying to think of a highlight, and my biggest highlight was seeing a shot get poured into your mouth in Coyote Uglies.
I don't think that goes
But I
down.
don't think I can use that as my biggest highlight.
Really, might be my biggest highlight. I don't really sure. There's got to be some good ones, right? I mean, I think even like the opening ceremony, things like that.
Yeah.
Really, you know, one of the lasting memories I have from it is still that drive to when we went on that big coach trip to the opening ceremony when we got picked up from the hotel at the beginning of the actual games.
Yeah.
Just seeing people, the traffic being stopped for us.
Yeah,
Wow.
Like a presidential convoy.
Exactly, yeah.
With the Outriders.
That was just awesome, you know, having motorbike Outriders, having the Harley Davidson chapter from the camp. There was a camp chapter basically, the Thunderbird chapter. They were there as well, and the president of the police, and just stopping traffic for us. You know, wow, you just wouldn't have got that in UK.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously the size of it as well. You know, it was just so much, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I mean, it's like we had that, and you know I think at the cycling, so obviously you were at the cycling at the medal ceremony, like the pure just like emotion when Andy O got the gold medal in the cycling.
Yeah.
Just that moment, and then to get told a couple of days later I missed out on the medals by a second.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Oh,
Yeah, I got the times through. I was a second. There was like 3 seconds between me and Silver.
Wow.
The guy that won it beat us all by about a minute and a half.
Right.
But that was that army dude who literally stuck it in the hardest gear for the whole ride, and just said bye.
Yeah. No, I wasn't disappointed with the cycling because it wasn't my own machine because I ride a recumbent trike at home, and it wasn't built for me. That machine wasn't, and I have to confess, at home I have an electric assist on my bike on the trike, so I didn't have an electric assist out there, so I was struggling, but you know it was a you know I enjoyed the experience again, you know, but I didn't actually. I think I've got my time sensitive. I didn't really put it into think, well, where I was in it. I just knew I didn't get into the medals, and that was it.
But you finished as well.
Yeah.
So and I think that's one thing that you know I've learned through going through the Invictus trials, going over to Vegas for the Air Force trials, is the resilience of people. And for me, I didn't even at the time didn't know you that well. I'd heard chatterings of your story. You had was it a stroke you had, Chris?
Yeah, since leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to see you just compete and be happy at the end of it.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's like you didn't give up. I didn't ever hear anybody say I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. They just did it. And if you come dead last, you come dead last. I nearly died doing one arm backstroke.
Yeah.
I had a near death experience.
Right.
I think I took on half of the pool.
Yeah.
Hit the lane rope, had an absolute nightmare.
No.
But I finished.
That's it, and I think it was a similar thing that I felt with the indoor rowing. I didn't, and I was that look on my, I don't remember, but the look on my face when I got the medal was genuine. I didn't think I got even into the medal. I wasn't even expecting to be a medalist on that. I just thought I've just done my best I could, and that was it. and I knew it was blowing out of me, and that was me. But, and then suddenly you get told you're in the medals, mate. I'm like, ah. And what I think it was, I didn't understand the classification process very well. Never been
Yeah.
in that arena before. And, I just assumed I was up against everybody else. I thought, well, there's no chance I've beaten them. I know me place. So the classification thing that came into it, and obviously paid off for me. Now,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
it's like playing your trump card, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, yeah. How did you feel when you got that first medal? So I found it really strange at the swimming when I got my first medal. Well, I say first medal, only medal. I only got one medal
Right.
while we were there, but I felt strangely emotional and quite
Yeah.
overwhelmed.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. The to have it whilst you're swimming in the swimming thing was a bit difficult. I felt because I wasn't sure if the feeling was had with the chill from the swimming and coming out of the swimming pool and that and being semi-naked sort of thing. Not, was that the chill effect, or was it actually that overwhelming, feeling of, not it's almost numbness a little? I don't know. It can't be real. It's not real sort of thing. I don't know. It's hard. We're not used to having medals and things, are we?
No,
Right? And someone felt, nah, not can't be me. It doesn't feel right. And I think it's an arena that again I'm not used to. I've done triathlons in the past in the early days, and I've never up in the rankings, but you finished, and that was it. It was the euphoria of finishing, which is great, and that's what I'm used to. I'm never used to actually winning something. To actually then get told, right, you need to go up and get this medal because you've just done better than somebody else. You feel, wow, it's. I don't think we're used to it. That's what it is.
yeah, I think it comes as alien as well because certainly for myself, my last, I'm gonna say eight, probably 8 9 years of the army, I was plagued with injury, and you're almost, whether it's somebody directly trying to just get under your skin or indirectly, you sort of feel unworthy,
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
feel like you just can't do things because, and I've just funny enough, I've just been speaking about it with my therapist a couple of weeks ago. She started talking to me about the carrot and the stick,
mm,
and talking about how I'm going forward with my training. And she's like, you don't want to use the stick because the army was the stick.
yeah, yeah,
You do it this way and you do it well, or you don't do it.
yeah.
Whereas now I've got to try and change my mindset. So I was doing a lot of rowing and I was really enjoying the rowing.
Right.
Then I hurt my shoulder again. So I took a step back from rowing and I felt quite down because I'd had to
Right.
take a step back from doing something I felt was doing me good.
Yeah.
And she come in with the carrot and the stick angle
Mm,
and said, have a carrot, so you need a reward. So,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
also I'm having to try and change my way of thinking. So, okay, and if I can't do that, what can I do? So I've gone back in the pool,
Right.
and we've started working on this thing. It's called, I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Thought to Court.
No.
No, so it's really strange. And when we went through it the first time, I'll admit it felt a little bit cringy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's basically when you have or when sort of I have a negative thought, whether that's about myself or something I haven't achieved, and I'm starting to feel down, I have to write down the thought. So,
Okay.
for instance, I couldn't go to the gym, right? So, at that point where I couldn't go to the gym, in my mind, I was thinking I couldn't go to the gym, I'm just useless. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
And then it's about, like a courtroom, you then have to write down a defence. So,
Okay.
why couldn't you go to the gym?
Yeah.
I was in pain, yada, yada, yada. And you write down why you couldn't go, and
Yeah.
then you sort of reassess it. So, actually, am I useless, or did I not go to the gym because I was in pain?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's really it's a real for me.
Yeah.
It's starting to sort of pay dividends now because I'm starting to think about that. So when the negative thoughts creep in, I'm starting to think about ways around it, which is
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds to me very similar to something I used to do. I mean, dare I say, I used to do health and safety, and we used to have the thing called the 5 whys. And it's why did that happen? Because of this. Why did that happen? Because of that. Why did that happen? And you get down to like the root cause analysis. Now, if what you're saying is, you're basically putting a case forward and then supporting why you didn't do it, you almost ask this sort of question again, aren't you? Like, well, I didn't do it because I didn't go to the gym because I was in pain. Right, so why were you in pain? Well, because I've got hurt my shoulder. Why did you hurt your shoulder? Because I spent, did some stuff in the military that caused it. It wasn't my fault. I'm not. Why did that happen in the military? Because that's I had an accident or whatever it was, and you could almost say that was almost doing the similar thing. It's taking that blame away. You shouldn't be blaming yourself.
Yeah,
If it's things that are out of your control, if you've got a bad shoulder, you've got a bad shoulder, haven't you?
yeah. So
It's a good idea. If it's working, mate, then it's got to be good, isn't it?
yeah,
I,
exactly.
I, I do sometimes. You talk about the carrot and stick sort of thing. I think sometimes the military was very much a linear process. You kept moving forward all the time on a straight sort of line. Where really in life it's about circles. You're going round, and if it doesn't matter if you don't reach the goal, you just come back to the beginning again and start something else, or change it a little bit and lower your sights a little bit. Wherever it's not failure, is it? If you're going forward, and you don't reach that point, like you said in the military, you failed. I think you did right about that.
yeah, and I mean, all I will say, just for the benefit of people who do listen, when we talk about our problems and our coping strategies in here, it's important to remember that nobody, unless we specifically get somebody in, nobody who appears on this podcast, okay, we're not medically trained, we're not therapists, okay, we are talking about what helps us and the things that we've been doing. But if you go into the comments of this podcast, okay, there will be some links in there to NHS services for mental health, and also there's a link in there to the Veterans Gateway where you can find lots of sort of helping information, reference mental health treatment should you feel you need it. And all I will say is, jump in the chat if you want to talk to us, and don't be afraid to talk about your mental health problems. No matter who you are, it shouldn't be something that sort of limits you and you're ashamed of. It took me a long time. It took me a long time to actually have the courage to sort of speak out because, toxic. I'll say, that era of toxic masculinity where men couldn't be depressed and men couldn't talk about their feelings. But I think we're getting to a point now where, everybody's problems deserve to be heard.
Yeah, yeah, good one. Yeah, very true.
So obviously AFW2, we came back, Chris. What have you been up to since?
I have to admit, I haven't done as much as I thought I would do, and now speaking about it, I'm slightly ashamed about it because I set out when I went there on when we started the Invictus journey. I thought this was all going to be kick-start. But in my defence, if that's what we can say, I haven't been very well, and also April is historically a bad month for me, regardless of anything else. April I just find a difficult month because of things that have happened in the past and that. So I get through April, and it's a bit. I suppose in a way, you can almost imagine like you being in the real life in a way, isn't it? It's like spring. April's a sort of spring sort of month, and that coming through. I come out of that, and then hopefully that's been my sort of flourish. That's what that's what I'm hoping I'm going to be doing now. The winter's the winter, isn't it? And you get all the problem with that. The Vegas trip and the games there was great. Came at a lovely time. Don't get me wrong, but I struggled with the health when I got back. A little bit with the post tour or post games bravado type thing. The come down to
Yeah.
it. coming from a really awesome trip with awesome people, great people, good bonds and everything else. Even much as we like to think we're all still together in contact and that, it's not the same as being face to face, having drinks with people, having meals with people, doing sports with people. It wasn't the same as that. So it was I found a very big come down from it. I must do that, and I did struggle with that. I doubt if but then I also had a bit of just unhealth, just not well anyway. So that had a bit of a thing leading to April, which that's my fault. April's my fault.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. Past my time in the life, I just had to keep getting through and then moving on.
Yeah, but like you say, bad month, illness. I was exactly the same, sort of post games blues, we'll call it, and feeling generally down. I miss you guys. I do. It was nice to finish a day and just, even when we just sat at the bar, even nights we didn't have a beer, just sat together chatting, and it's just having that time. And I'm personally terrible at actually going to exercise by myself. So my wife has now joined the same gym as me, and she's being my stick. So she's just a little bit of the stick, but it's more of a, to be fair to her, she supported me through so much, and she knows when it's pain and I can't, so she won't push. But yeah, it's.
Will she go and do the same activities as you in the gym?
Yeah, so we're swimming at the moment. That seems to be the limit for me at the moment till find out what the surgeon says in a couple of weeks. But yeah, I've got to try and get better at swimming for Invictus 25 trials.
Is that your plan? Are you going?
Yeah, I think I'm going to hit the Invictus 25 trials hard. Yeah. Because I'm starting to think, if I don't make 25, what would I be then? 44. I don't know how much life this old boy's got left in him.
You'd be surprised, mate. You'd be surprised. I'm still pushing on, right? I'm still
pushing
forward. So yeah, you'd be surprised how much you've got left.
So what are you thinking next steps? Are you
I haven't discounted the next Invictus games because I think I don't want it to be the pinnacle of the thing, but I do. It's something I would like to do and be part of something bigger, and that's what I feel I need to do in me. I need it's not a bucket list thing like that. It's not one of those sort of things. It's just the feeling I still got something I want to offer. I want to need something to probably push me a little bit harder again. It's interesting you said there about you're going to try harder for the trials. I do wonder. I didn't think what we did this time for this year's Invictus Games was a trial. I didn't go in it in that way of thinking. So that's something you felt it was.
No, not so much a trial. It's so for me when I say hit it hard, I'm thinking more personal goals. So I'm going to set myself, as I train, I'm going to set myself PBs. And don't get me wrong, I think performance has to help. I think.
Did you get feedback from the Invictus Games?
Say again?
Did you get feedback from Invictus?
No, I opted not to. Just because, do you know what? It was my first crack at the whip. I didn't get picked. I got picked to go to Vegas for 2 weeks, and I just felt, do I need feedback? Because let's be honest, the staff at the Legion are all very, very nice. They're not going to give us negative feedback. So therefore, why have feedback? Yeah. That was my way of thinking. So I was just thinking, do you know what? I'll try again IG 25. Yeah. I've I know some of the people that have been picked for Invictus, and well done to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
What an achievement! And I'll be right behind them as soon as those games kick off and through their training, because they are, we are one. They are us. We are them.
And I think we are part of the Invictus team anyway. Regardless, we weren't selected for the actual games, but we're part of the Invictus. We're all part of the Invictus journey.
Yeah.
And we are part of our journey. I think was to go to. Just lucky it was in Las Vegas, but to go to another camp, in a sense, another training game, which is a little stepping stone perhaps to the next Invictus games. And that's how I've looked at it. I thought, no, it's not a consolation prize or anything else. It wasn't. It was just, look, you're not ready for the Invictus games yet, but we've got this one you can go and do, and just happen to be in Las Vegas. You can't. That's the good thing about it. But it's just a little bit of a stepping stone for me to hopefully get ready for the next one.
Yeah, exactly. It just happens to be that out of lots of people applied. Those people were deemed to be at that part of their journey where this would be really beneficial to them,
Yeah.
and you can't begrudge that.
No.
I just begrudge. I don't like the bitterness with it's not a lot of people. I've not heard a lot of it, but it's like with anything, isn't it, in life? There doesn't need to be bitterness. How about just didn't get picked, get behind them, show you're that sort of person. Because let's be honest, they want team players in Invictus as well, and I think some people don't realise that the way they comment on social media, they might actually be talking themselves out of having a crack at that whip.
Yeah, and you think back to your military days and that. There's people you didn't get on with in your unit, but you still worked with them and you still supported them.
Yeah.
In your actual work.
Exactly.
You have to be the ones to go out in the beer room at night all the time. So you are going to get people that you don't necessarily agree with, and maybe it's a selection process. You may not agree with it, but it is what it is. You have to do whatever you've got to do to make it work for you.
Yeah.
I will certainly be trying for the next one, and I think that's whether it's a trial or not. They're going to treat it like that. I didn't treat this one as a trial. I must, like I said, it didn't feel as a trial. I thought the camps were like a learning stage. Like this is almost like a look at the activities.
Yeah.
Oh, this is Kev, is it?
Yeah, we have a late arrival. The original Vegas cowboy. Big Kev. All right, Kev? How's it going? Yeah, good, mate. So, obviously, Kev's come and joined us. Kev, if you want to just introduce yourself, mate.
What do you want me to say, mate?
Just, who you are, what you're about, where you're from, career.
Yeah, hang on. Let me just try and change this over. I'm having technical issues, people.
Is that Elvis in the background?
It is, mate. Indeed, it is.
Yes.
Hang on.
Viva Las Vegas.
Have you been trying to spell words on the fridge again?
Yeah. Is it just that to be on, is it?
Yeah, at the minute, mate, yeah. Well, I'd say we'll only be on for about another 15 minutes or so, I think. But
yeah. You'll be able to hear my kids in the background, so don't swear, kids. Kevin Sherwood. I've done 20-year career in the army before I was medically discharged with cancer, service-related cancer and other injuries. So in my bladder. Funny story was I went to the med centre. I remember before I got diagnosed, I went to the med centre and it was just before Christmas, and went to the MO. They said, "Oh yeah, what's wrong with you?" I said, "I'm urinating blood." I was like, "Okay." Peed into it for your blood, and the doctor ended up giving me Spotty Smarties for my bruising. For the whole of Christmas leave, I was urinating blood. I went back after Christmas, and I said, he said, "What's wrong?" I said, "I'm still urinating blood." So then they decided to do something and not give me any more ibuprofen. And then obviously diagnosed. So adaptive sports. So for me, my journey started back in Sheffield. I don't know if anybody else's did here. Yeah, mine started back then, and where Alpha Heroes still had it, and we had the Sheffield Games. Chris, remember that?
I was there. I wasn't in the game. That was my first introduction into Invictus. It was when I saw it. I thought, wow, I want part of this. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was down there. Yeah.
Yeah, for the ones that don't know, they've done a mini games up in Sheffield, didn't they? And we all had hotels and free tram rides and Harry come, didn't he, and stuff like that. That's when I found out I was really crap at archery because out of 6 arrows, I had to through there, and out of 6 arrows, I hit the board once. And I looked to the right of me, and there was a lady like how Kieran fires these arrows. She hit the target all 6 times. I was like, all right then, this is no good for me. I was trying to apply the marksmanship principles. I forgot we were indoors. And there was no target forward. So I was like, okay, this is not my sport, let alone my surname Sherwood. I'm from Sherwood Forest, I suppose. Yeah, it's definitely not my sport. So yeah, and then obviously COVID hit and it all went low, didn't it? And then for everybody. Funny enough, I've just come back from training tonight. Part of a big shout out to Gloucester Athletics Club. I'll get that in there. And I've got my first competition since Vegas on Sunday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, doing discus and shot put. So yeah, a bit nervous because obviously it's going to be Civi's running everything, and you know the CL there.
We're all Civies now, mate. We're all Civies now, aren't we?
Yeah, well, you know what I mean by Civies, as it's no other veterans are going to be there but me. So I think it's going to have to be, you know, yes sir, please and thank you and that.
If all else fails, some good old fashioned intimidation.
Yeah. Stuff like that. But yes, I'm looking forward to that. Actually, it's
good. I hope you do well.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, well, you'll have to like keep us in the loop and.
Yeah, we'll do. So
next week's meeting, that's it, isn't it?
Then after that, podcast on the 21st of May as well, down in Yate. Is it Yate? Yeah. It's an open down in Yate. If you know where Yate is, anybody? So yeah. What about you guys? You been all right?
Yeah. I've been mainly in the pool because I think I went a little bit too hard, a little bit too quick with the old rowing and hurt my shoulder.
Yeah.
So just waiting to see. I'm seeing that I've been on the waiting list for more surgery since July, but I've just had a letter to say I've got my pre-op assessment in a couple of weeks. So hopefully some progress there, maybe. But yeah, just doing some pool work at the moment. Been a little bit tentative.
Yeah.
Yeah, but apart from that, it's all right, isn't it? The weather will pick up soon.
Yeah. What about you, Chris?
I have to be unashamedly, I haven't done anything. I can use the excuse I wasn't well and hasn't been the best, April not been the best month for me, blah blah blah. But sports-wise, I haven't really done anything, and I need to now start thinking about that. But I have been looking at the next challenge, another challenge to come up along the way. The Veterans Rally, the Veterans Banger Rally. Go driving down from Calais to Gibraltar, so I've got hold of a car. So I've been busy, keeping busy. I just been sat in on the arse sort of thing. Yeah. But I haven't built on the sports that we did out in Vegas, unfortunately. But I can do that. I can get back into that.
Yeah. You're not taking your camper van?
Still not on the road, mate. That ain't. Still on the road at the moment.
Is that going to be up for sale soon or what?
Yeah, it will be, I think. Yeah, I've fallen out of love with camping.
Your passion wagon.
Yeah.
Nothing else been going on, working. I know you don't work, do you, Chris, anymore?
I do a little bit of work. I work for Help for Heroes part time.
Oh yeah, you do, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike, are you working? Are you?
Yeah. I've been teaching this week, so
Yeah.
yeah, quite a nice one this week. Only had five students this week. 3 RAF, 1 Civvy, 1 Army.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You know, hey, ones that can't teach.
exactly. It's been nice and chill. I'm working from home for 2 weeks, so
That's good, isn't it?
yeah.
That's good.
What do you teach them?
I teach data center design, network design and planning and project management.
Oh, God.
Boy.
Oh yeah, and fiber optic installation and things like that.
Oh,
All
the,
right.
the scaling.
Take the subject.
Yeah, basically teach people how to use tools and
Oh, okay.
earn a lot more money than me.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Yeah.
Sod
But
that.
work life balance in it. It's
So who's we've all medal winners, okay, from Vegas. Who's put the medal up yet on the display yet?
I haven't yet. No.
I haven't. I've got a pile of stuff on my little tables. I've got one of my shirts. I've got my medal. I've got my swimming cap. I've got some bits and pieces from, I've got a chip from Las Vegas Harley Davidson shop and all that. Thinking, I've got the idea that I'm going to put it all into a display. I just haven't got round to doing it. It's just sat there waiting to happen. I don't know if I will.
No, I see Neil's done quite a nice display frame, hasn't he?
Yeah. I'm not really one for putting stuff on display, really, to be honest with you. I was thinking, well, I was there, I've done it. Does it need to be on display? I'm not sure.
I might get it mounted with me other medals.
Oh, look at it.
No, as in like put it on my medals on my chest for remembrance.
Really? Get the court mounted. That'd be nice, yeah.
when I was a lad in Vegas.
Yeah. On your right side, those ones.
The amount of stuff John took back with him, bloody hell, he needs a whole garage to put that stuff.
I know, yeah.
His place. I saw the Duracell Bunny's little display that he was going to frame with his Tartan stuff. He's watching tonight live, isn't he, Duracell Bunny?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he said he was watching, but he hasn't typed anything into the chat though. Maybe he hasn't figured it out.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
I'm surprised he's got internet in Scotland.
Yeah, exactly. So are you keeping up with the powerlifting, Kev?
That's the only thing I haven't really done is I've got no one to spot me or anything. So I can ask some beefheads in the gym, but they're all into just standing in front of a mirror, staring at their Linford lunchbox and everything, and their muscles. So yeah, I need to do that really, but I'm more concentrating on discus and shot at the moment.
That's good.
So I've got a coach and everything, and that's pretty good. And so
Did you do much? Did you do much of that before you started? With the RBL and the Las Vegas?
No, not really. I only got onto that when I was speaking to when I was doing the training camps pre-COVID in 2018, where a lot of the powerlifters were then moving on to discus and shot. So I just thought,
right,
I'll give it a go as well.
Yeah.
Well, that was your first crack at it, was it, out in Vegas?
First proper competition, yeah.
Oh wow.
It was pretty good, yeah. I really enjoyed it, and I don't know if you've seen Facebook and that. The Yanks are all off doing it all again, aren't they, over in Texas and stuff?
Yeah, San Antonio, aren't they?
Yeah, so
they've got a good setup, I think. Because I mean, obviously the size of the country helps.
Yeah,
they haven't they?
They have got a great setup for where they do it, and we mentioned it earlier, didn't we, Mark, about we mentioned like trials, which the only time we did the trial was in 2019, wasn't it? But it wasn't a trials actually for the game, was it? In pictures, but I think it'd be quite nice if they did something like that a little bit.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, because it gives people a chance to compete, who haven't ever competed before.
Yeah.
Because you always want to be selected for some kind of team, either Warrior or what we did or Invictus.
Yeah.
you know, competing in Sheffield was just competing against us, lot, wasn't it? Which is, you know, it was still a mini games.
Yeah, it's an experience. And again, we had spoken about it this evening, Mike, didn't we, about how we felt about winning medals and things.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it was something we're not used to. Again, it could have perhaps made that slightly easier for us. I don't know, you know.
Well, my one, I didn't even know I won it. Until Rosie said, go on, they called your name. Yeah.
Is that a hat, maybe? That's what it was.
That's what I thought. Taking a piss or what? you know, you're going to get me sitting up there and then I'll just sit there with nothing. Billy No Mate's just sat there like, are you going to call me or what? But, you know, yeah, I'd love to do it again. But yeah, it was experience, and you know, the hospitality as well that we had was second to none, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's a shame in a way now, though, because we'd probably never get ever selected before. I don't imagine. I don't think we ever get selected again because it's fair. It would be unfair for other people, maybe. It's a shame. It's something I would love to do again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they don't send the team out to Warrior if we've been invited to Warrior games, but I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe it's something that hopefully that will start sort of coming to fruition now. Once they sort of get into the weeds of it within, because they're changing Warrior, aren't they? They're changing it to like a 2-year cycle.
Yeah.
Help the Heroes used to do Warrior games as well, didn't they? When they were in the so maybe RBL needs to just build it up again now. And like I say, it might be something that can happen in the future. Because that'd be nice if it does. Because it's another outlet, isn't it?
I think this year was probably a big ask. I think because you've got Invictus this year. But then once they get it into this cycle where it'd be Warrior 1 year, Invictus the year after.
Yeah.
Hopefully, something to start coming with it. I mean, personally, I'm just wondering when the training camps are going to start for Invictus 25 because it's an early games in 25.
That's right. It's in February.
Yeah, it's in February, so I can imagine that they're gonna start the camps probably.
As soon as Invictus 23 finishes, it's more or less it will go straight into the camps.
Yeah.
So I think you've got to be ready to start putting your things forward and that from as soon as this one's out of the way. So I'm just, and I'm sure we'll get emails sent to us anyway. I would thought, we're in the loop, aren't we? That's probably one good thing about what we've done. We are in the loop.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, definitely. And the training as well. It's going to be. Yeah.
Where?
Well, I don't even think. Like you look at the IG website. I don't even think they've gone firm on what the winter events are going to be yet.
No.
So.
You're not going to get my fat ass on a skelly bob, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I suppose they maybe start doing that. Well, they maybe announce at Invictus this year what the games are going to be. Do they normally? Because they do a handover, don't they?
Chris, was you in full Union flag attire on the coronation day?
I have Union Jacks all over the house anyway, all the time. I've got Union Jacks everywhere. Every room's got a Union Jack somewhere in it. So every day's a Union Jack day for me. Even my lights are do Union Jack, red, white, and blue. What's been going on?
Yeah, I thought you're having a party for one day, like.
Oh, I have a party for one night on my own. Yeah, every night's a party night on my own.
Well, we're my missus having a Eurovision party Saturday.
Right.
So my house is going to be absolute carnage.
It's one of those weird ones, isn't it? Eurovision one. It's cringy, but it's a party. There's no excuse, isn't it?
Any excuse for a drink.
Yeah.
All the Scousers will be loving it, though, wouldn't they?
Oh God, they've got. See how busy it is up there now at the moment. Seen them all packed into that square the other week, and I was just like, oh God. Nah.
Okay.
Right. Anyway, it is an hour done. So we'll wrap it up there.
Yeah.
Those that have listened in, thank you very much for listening in. And if you hear this back on Spotify, YouTube, okay, do leave your comments and any sort of any feedback for the early stages of this would be great. So bye from me.
And it's a farewell from me.
And it's a good morning for me. Goodbye from me.
Where are you?
Yeah.